I thought that's what you were doing.
No, I'm reading that. I just can't see it.
Oh, okay. Okay, well.
Thanks for asking me a question I didn't know was coming, Jack.
You need to get your peepers fixed. I can train. I can give you my training to make your eyes. It involves some strenuous exercises of the ocular nerves.
So our initiative rule is...
It's like eyeball Kegels. Just... Stop. Okay.
Welcome to the Deadzone Podcast. Deadzone is the sci-fi tabletop miniature skirmish game from Mantic Games. And now, here are your hosts Rob Harper and Jack Fike. I am your announcer, William Randolph Wintergreen.
Welcome to the 34th episode of Deadzone the Podcast for May 2015. In this episode, we go over Mantic Open Day 2015 and discuss some rules we'd like to change. As always, you can go to deadzonegame.podbean.com to see all the pictures, or you can go to youtube.com/c/deadzonethepodcast for the video version of the show. And now on to the episode. Welcome to episode 34 of Deadzone the Podcast. I'm Rob.
And I'm Jack.
And I'm Surly.
Surly Rob.
We got lots of news and things to talk about.
We certainly do.
Because this past weekend before this weekend, we were recording this weekend after Mantic Open Day. So there's some stuff coming out of there. Not much Deadzone stuff, but a lot of Warpath stuff and other things. And we'll get right into it. Get into the news. The news.
The news.
We begin with our first segment, the news.
So we do have reports from our field operative, Fisty Glue Man.
Again with the Fisty Glue Man.
He's our man in the field.
He's a glue bottle with fists glued to him.
But he takes pictures, which is good.
I don't know physically how that's possible. I think you're being rooked. You're being catfished by a glue bottle with fists glued to him.
So he's at Fisty Glue Man on Twitter. And he also, there's a link to all the pictures he took. We're just going to talk about some of them that kind of relate to Deadzone or other things. But
So anything that's Deadzone or vaguely in the peripheral.
Yeah, Warpath. And some pictures of some Dreadball minis and stuff because they're cool. But there leaves lots of Kings of War and Dungeon Saga stuff on his site there, so check that out. They did mention that the new Deadzone rules will rebalance unit stats, reference cards might be replaced by reference sheet, which we kind of talked to from Depthcon.
Yeah, we got that from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, and he just restated it. And backers of the first Deadzone Kickstarter will receive digital version of the new rules for free, which is good. Which I think we also reported before, but it's good to reiterate that if you did back Deadzone, you get the new rules.
The gift that keeps on giving.
And also, the Warpath Alpha is available on Beast of War, and we'll be discussing more of that probably next episode. But you can go there, and I'm sure it's going to be available openly by June, so you can check that out and and also there's many places where you can get that alpha.
So once we get a chance to peruse, digest, we'll be able to give informed opinions and have a discussion. So next in 2 weeks you'll be able to hear that from us once we've done our homework.
Yep. And the Kickstarter, once again, no date, but they said end of 2015 or beginning of 2016, which sounds very, very similar to what they said last year, which was end of 2014, beginning of 2015. But I think this time they're serious about it because they're actually releasing some rules and things like that. So, and also Alessio Cavatore is not going to be involved in the new Warpath. It seems he's got his hands full doing other things, so including Terminator. So I think he's busy.
And it sounds like they've gone in a different direction. They've got a different path they're taking from the original. So it's no sense on keeping on.
Yeah, he's still involved in Kings of War too, I'm sure. But they have a rules committee that they've set up to. So it's going to be pretty much it's the community is going to be building these rules, which is cool.
That's the way it should be.
So we do have some pictures. First ones, we have a shot of the Crystallins in all their blue plastic glory. Jack painted up one that was in the gray plastic, and you weren't impressed with him that much. But these guys look cool. I like the blue. Looks really awesome.
It's a different sculpt than the one that came with
obviously,
the thing. And those, They have a similar aesthetic, but they're not the same one as the one I did. Like the feet look similar. They are
rocky guys, but yeah, that one was just weird that his arm was cocked back so far. And also with them is the four-legged guys. I think they're the two Sardins or something.
Which apparently on Strike Zone, Adam was saying that they've got there's some dynamite models. The rules for them. They're like the Reb team built around those guys. That's just what I hear.
We do have shots of some Veermin with cool pipes and stuff. And they're coming along. I like the Veermin. Some Pathfinders. Great boards from Mantic Open Day. Another great shot of the Veermin and the Pathfinders. I don't know if that's piping in the front there, if that's part of the new... I think it must be, right? Part of the new scenery sprues.
That bluish conveyor belt looking... whatever train that's certainly, we've looked at that before. I think that's just showcasing the new train in all its glory.
I do like this pipe system right here in the front.
And they've really weathered the hell out of it. That, rather than some of the other buildings that they've done that I've seen when they've done the dioramas, obviously.
Like this one. Look at the rust they've done on it.
Yeah, this looks more like the stuff we've done, like just completely.
I do love that hex grading for the flooring there.
Dilapidated and nasty.
What do they call it? Diamond plating? Well, it's great, though. The actual grates.
Yeah.
That looks so cool. A lot more variety. Look at that piece, too. It's a little square. That's a new type of piece. It's like a 1x1 square. Just add to fill in spots so you can make open areas. It's neat.
That is. It looks like some...
Those are all Veermin, I believe, down there. Those are the Night Stalker guys, I guess.
Yeah, there's a plague dog down at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, just hanging out.
Maybe they create plague dogs, too. Here's a good shot of the whole table here. Oh, maybe those are... It's Veermin, and it looks like Veermin and Plague on the same side.
It looks like they've teamed up.
Yeah, it's weird.
Because I can see
Stage one
just standing there. There's no mistaking. Like the plague dog, someone stuck a plague dog on there. Some cheeky monkey moved a model over there and went, hey, look, there's no missing a stage one standing there.
I noticed what, you can't really see it here, but the rules are playing, it says Warpath. So they must be doing a demo of Warpath here. So maybe they have, in Warpath, maybe they have...
alliances?
Yeah, alliances.
Well, it makes sense that would be possible.
Yeah, for sure.
Is this like some sort of breaking investigation? Have we just...
I never noticed that until now. Yeah.
Cracked some sort of code?
There was a lot of stuff in that Mantic Day that they said that Mantic purposely said no pictures, don't report it. So there's a lot of secret stuff that nobody's sharing. Like there's...
Is that sort of like Ronnie, that kind of secret?
You're not supposed to mention that. It's out now, actually, anyways. But,
because I still have the
secrets. And here's another shot of the...
There's going to be a lot of beeping there if it is not supposed to be.
Here's a great shot of another board. You can see the, I think that's the Mars Attacks truck right there parked in the middle.
Yeah.
And the Mars Attacks mats, too. The city maps. It's a cool looking shot. It's a big table. This must be Warpath, too. That's a 6x4 table.
That could be. That's pretty built up for Warpath, though. My impression was that it was more of a battlefield type situation.
These are all Striders over here. No, I think Warpath's supposed to be pretty dense terrain-wise.
Oh, well, we'll find that out. Yet again, we're going to be addressing that the next episode once we've got some time in with the rules and a little discussion.
Yep, and they also had monitors showing concepts of different people. These are the Forge Fathers, the veterans ones, so they're like the retired guy. This guy's a little chubby, which is funny.
Yeah, got a little paunch on him.
Yeah.
A little past his prime, that guy.
It's funny. Yeah, it's the guys who brought out their old armor and came back to fight, which is cool. Forge Fathers, not big on dwarves, but they're pretty cool looking. And Veermin got a new, this is one of the ones that they're thinking about for Warpath, is Veermin got something called a tunneler. It's a big vehicle with it looks like the things they use to dig tunnels.
Yeah, it looks just like in real life, those things do exist.
Yeah.
And it's not even like an epically fantasy version of it either.
It's pretty straight on there. It's kind of cool. And we also got, I think we showed this before last year maybe even, but Warpath Asterian battle drones, or battle droids. So it's like I think they're, instead of being, with Asterians, the ciphers are controlled by people in pods. Maybe these are more like
autonomous.
drones.
Yeah, like
They're a little less, like, they don't have hands. The one he's got a gun for a hand, and they're cool looking. You can see whole armies of these guys running around. And what else we got? Oh, this next one's pretty amazing. This is a Forge Father tank. And it pretty much looks like their armor, but in tank form. And it has a little Forge Father scale, so that thing's pretty huge.
It has the Space Dwarf aesthetic. Like, it does match what you'd think.
It almost looks like a face here with his helmet, and then like a big plow on the front.
But the plow could be his beard.
Yeah, exactly. And big gun on top. Vehicles. Can't wait for Warpath. And here's a shot of the new, the Cypher new Reb regular unit. He's cool looking too. Just because right now the only Cypher in Deadzone is or Sphere, or whatever you call them, is a loader for that gun for the Rebs.
Yeah. So
it looks like you're going to get actual guys, which is cool, with the fishtails.
I'm all about taking the unique races from Deadzone, from the whole universe that is Mantic's universe.
Yeah, Dreadball or
all the unique races and stuff. Put them to the forefront. Everyone's got space elves. Orcs, God knows you could. If there was some sort of plague that wiped them out, and I don't mean the plague. I mean, let's just say,
even the plague.
The plague. Okay, so let's just say I would not shed a tear, but I would love to see full armies of some of the really
different
interesting.
runs,
yeah. Make it their own
for sure. And last picture from Fisty is a shot of the new Teraton teleporting shock trooper. He looks cool. I like the big gun on his hand there.
Big gun? Is that a razor thing or?
I think it looks more like a mace or like a piston of some sort that he can punch people with.
Cool.
And I do like on his chest. He looks like he's got like ID for some reason. He's got like an ID badge.
Well, he's got to take the subway just like the rest of us.
Yeah, but he's cool looking. So I can't wait for more Teratons too. So we'll take a Mantic ad here, and we'll be back, and we'll have another little bit of discussion to go on.
Please return post haste.
You have been listening to the Deadzone Podcast with your hosts Jack Fike and Rob Harper. The Deadzone Podcast is dedicated to Deadzone, the tabletop miniature game by Mantic Games. Visit them at manticgames.com.
And welcome back, and we're on to our next topic, which is the rules discussion. We said we're going to start discussing the rules.
Yes, a brief recap. At Adepticon, we were talking to Ronnie, and he was saying that the Deadzone rules were going to be changing. He was looking for input and some other stuff. And listen to our last podcasts, and you'll get the gist of it. But we've decided to help be part of the community, a constructive member of the community, and offer some things that we were thinking about. We chose a list of the rules off the top of our heads that we thought had room for improvement, and that list again is on our previous podcasts, and now we're breaking those down, and we're gonna discuss.
Yep, we'll start with a message that we got from Clash957 on YouTube. He had a lot to say about the rules discussion, and we'll start off our rules discussion with what he had to say. Would you like to read that, Jack?
Certainly. Okay, Clash957 on YouTube says, I generally like the ideas of the changes you have discussed, especially initiative and plus X dice special abilities. I thought the core rule book was already a bit much with the special abilities, and it has only become more bloated. I agree.
Yeah, for sure. It's just so much. Like, not to be in one book, it's a lot to look through.
And it'll only get worse the more you add.
Okay. Yep.
So I think we're on the same page there.
Yep, so
Clash.
far so good.
I personally wouldn't want the cards to go, as I like the idea of them, although I will admit the mission card combinations can result in the game being a foregone conclusion sometimes.
Yep, the missions are, I find, the least useful. And the stat cards, we only really use them to tap things.
To make sure you remember who you've moved, and I think the mission cards have their place as the second step in learning the game.
Yeah, we'll get to all this. We're just
but again, Clash, I think we're on the same page.
Sure.
Clash goes on to say, what I would like to see is most of the mercs becoming full heroes, which would be a new category of unit, like leader or trooper.
Yeah, we've discussed that many times.
For the faction that best fits them. I also want to see an initiative system in place, but not go full alternating
Actions.
activations.
Activations, yeah.
I flubbed that. I apologize. Clash deserves better than my piss-poor rendition of
Yeah,
his
we were
words.
talking about this too. We'll go into more depth about initiative coming up.
And,
right in this episode.
We're starting with initiative.
Yeah,
That's
because that's the one
rule.
we know most about.
Okay. And I also agree that Deadzone, Clash goes on to say, should choose either command or battle cards, with me leaning towards the cards. I definitely don't want any of these things to model the Dust's Battlefield's rules, which I don't know the Dust Battlefield rules, but...
I don't know. I don't know I never played Dust Battlefield. We played Dust Tactics, but not Battle.
Okay. Clash goes on to say, I am not sure what the issue is concerning game balance being bad for anyone you talk about.
At a timestamp.
He timestamps when we discuss that on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll get more into depth what we mean by that. I don't think we were very clear, but we'll get into that.
Well, we were just touching on things because we're going to have each show is going to, when we get into it, you're going to be like, why? We're going to get right into the minutia.
Why are they arguing the same thing?
Okay, so I am of the opinion that better game balance is good for competitive players, and at worst, it doesn't affect for fun players. Good point.
Yep,
I agree. The only ones affected by game with good balance is the designers, as it is not an easy thing to create. Right now, Jack can use a sniper with the plague. He could take that
insanely OP.
that insanely OP Merc Nastanza, which, if Deadzone was better balanced, better balanced game, it wouldn't be an issue.
That's true.
That's true.
We don't take her because she is too powerful.
yeah, and that is true. That's a very simple way to say. It addresses what Clash brought up earlier about mercs and how they could be different and used and stuff.
Yeah, but she is a merc.
And as of right now, yes, I could if I wanted to use a.
It's just for sure. You could. We never really we don't really use mercs because we do find them either useless or overpowered. There's no
middle ground. No.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not. Clash goes on to say, I'm not looking for perfect balance either. I want a game that allows me to take any faction, build a strike team to suit the playstyle of the faction and myself, and with clever and tactical play, gives me just as good a chance as my opponent. I know it is easier said than done, but I think it is possible for Deadzone to accomplish.
I think that's true too.
That's
exactly what everybody wants, I think. Well, at least, that's what some people do want to play one faction and get it, but I think us in particular, we don't care which faction we play as long as it's fun.
And my feeling is from being in the community, I think that's probably the majority of people.
Yeah, maybe.
I think the Enforcers and the Plague starters are well within my tolerances for balance. The Rebs are not, and I'm leaning towards the Asterians, also me needing a little rebalancing. And a lot of mercs are crazy unbalanced both ways.
Yeah, we just said that, yep. Yeah, it's true, yep. I think the Plague Enforcers, obviously they're the ones they play tested the most. When they first came out with the game, that's the ones that they knew were coming out. All the other ones were added in the Kickstarter, and they never got the play testing, I don't think.
Just time on the table.
Yeah. And Mantic's admitted that they kind of rushed Deadzone because it was so popular, it was so huge that it pushed them to do things too fast, where they'd rather take time. And that's kind of what Infestation is now going to do, is rebalance all that kind of stuff and adjust things that shouldn't have been so out of balance. And do hope that Asterians get some help because they're pretty wimpy.
Well, Clash, thank you for your input. I agree. You bring up some really excellent points, and I think you're on the same page on some things, and hopefully, as we continue our discussions about the rules, that you can chime in. Anyone who has any opinion, feel free.
Yep.
So, thank you.
And today we'll be talking about initiative, and we've talked about initiative in the past. And our original idea, what we came up with, was pretty much. It ended up with the same results as what Mantic had in mind, but it gave that slight chance of
most of the
things
time.
Changing.
99 times out of 100, and I'm just throwing that stat out there as a we didn't I'm no Poindexter.
I don't know if it's that high, but yeah, it's pretty high.
But it has gone the other way a few times, and it's interesting. And the important thing about our rule was it stuck 100% with the core mechanics of the game and the flavor of the game. And so we kind of imprisoned ourselves in that.
Purposely not trying to change things too badly.
So, Rob, what is our initiative rule?
Oh, our initiative rule is you roll 1 die each. The model who didn't go last gets plus 1 die. So the model who didn't go last gets plus 2 dice to roll. And you have to roll under the leader's command total, and any ties go to the person with the least number of models. It's strangely complex, but it somehow works out.
Yeah, it leans heavily towards where Mantic wanted it to go, but I think it makes your leader a little more important. Your command totals.
Yeah. But if they get rid of command totals,
well, yeah. This has been for 2 years. Our not 2 years, but for
1 year at least. Yeah.
Yeah, so for the vast majority of our playing, when we realized there was a deficit in this particular rule. And it's for us. It's been a interesting. We created it and it's worked, and we didn't have to change it. And
no, it seems to work fine.
Yeah.
But Ronnie at Adepticon, when we were talking to him, he says he wants to go even further, and he wants a lot more fun in the initiative. And he did. Yeah. What was it?
So why do we think we need to make this any change at all?
Well, because the initiative, as it is, especially when you're playing Enforcers versus Plague, the Plague never get to go first. It's kind of broken in that way. But we also like the variety, where it's like there's a chance that if you walk a guy out in the open, there's a chance the next turn he's not going to be able to get to cover. Like there's
right.
Whereas if you're an Enforcer and it's the end of the turn, you can purposely leave guys places because you know you're going to go first and be able to clear them out. Right?
You can saunter at no point. Once you know that
it's not a surprise.
There's no surprise, there's no risk, there's no theatrical heroics possible.
Yeah.
You can literally just go, I'm going next. All my guys will just wander out into the street where the person who knows they're not going next, their game style, no matter what faction they're playing, means that they have to hide, maneuver, have to play scared while
much
the
more
team
defensive
plays laissez-faire. Who cares? And unfortunately, it's something that's easily fixed, quite easy to overlook during the original draft, but something that does affect gameplay.
Yeah. And it gets boring too. Like it's always boring that you don't get to go first and get to, like you want to be able to have the chance of setting up things, but then again we don't want total randomness because you do want some tactical nature of it.
Each one rolling a d8 and seeing who
every turn. That's, you could do that, I guess.
Yeah, but it's not in the flavor of the game, and it's not in the style that they're creating.
But what Ronnie mentioned was he liked the bolt action system, which is there's a bag full of dice, enough dice for each miniature or each in bolt action. It's for each squad on each side, and you keep pulling dice, and whichever dice you pull, that's who gets to go. So you could end up one team drawing all of them, or and then the other team gets to go. So it's like total, like I think 40K works that way. One team goes, and then the other team goes. Or you could do it alternating, or any combination there, and it does make it interesting. But there is a lot of overhead for that. You need a bag to put it in, and you also need dice or something representing each team of 2 different colors, and which I guess isn't 100%, not that hard. Like everybody has enough different colored dice, so you could do it. But it's just that one. It's almost a mechanical reason why that wouldn't work.
And it is a large deviation from this core mechanics. And that was only one of the things that he had mentioned. He had a couple other ideas that he was toying with. Obviously, we're not the only people that think that there needs to be some sort of at the beginning of each round, some sort of adrenaline kind of like risk factor that's missing right now.
Another thing with that bolt action system is that teams with larger amounts of squads or models in Deadzone's case they'll go more up. There's more chance you're going to go first because there's more of your dice in the bag, right? So that's kind of flips the whole Deadzone thing on its head. It's almost too much of a change, right?
Yeah, because it makes sense that a large amount of people would be able to swarm, but it comes down to when they get picked rather than the fact that they're going to move.
Because everybody goes eventually. You might get all your guys first. Yeah, pretty much the idea of a random roll that's somehow influenced by your command stat, but even more random than we thought of. I think that's probably the way to go.
So what we were imprisoned by the core mechanic, and we tried to stay within the rules that they stood. Ronnie, some of his ideas are way out there. Just and that's how he thinks, and that's good. Let's rein it in. Let's find a happy medium between the two.
Yeah.
What would be close to what our core mechanic is, and still new and inventive, and something that would still work.
And if we don't have to stick with the whole idea of Deadzone adding and subtracting dice, you can always do like +1 to your roll for your commands. Like, so if you have a command of 6, say command stat of 6, 3/3 or whatever, so you get +6 to your roll on a D8. Whereas if you're only a commander with 3, you get then the person with 3 would never. Well, would he? 6? Yeah, he could.
Mathematically, it'd be very improbable.
Well, he'd get 3, so he'd automatically have 4, and the other guy would automatically have 7. So that's not horrible. 7. It'd be 7 till what's that? 6 + 8 is 14. So 7 to 14 is one guy. And the other guy would be 4 to 12? No. My math isn't great there, but...
And I'm already... You're already losing me. Don't like it.
I'm just saying the chances. It's I don't think that's horrible, but that's not very Deadzone. You don't add anything to dice ever on Deadzone. Ours is good, it's just not enough. Like, it's not random enough.
I disagree. If you were to pin me down, say this hypothetical situation. Just say, and it probably will never happen, but there I am standing there, and Ronnie's talking to me, and he says, "What do you want to see out of this next Kickstarter?" And I blurt out, "I want you to do initiative rules." And no, that would never happen. I'm not that much of an idiot. And he said, "Well, what are your initiative rules?" I would say the ones that we started with, and I would say with 100% certainty that if you could put that, we've play tested the hell out of it.
But nothing changes. That's the problem. I want it more change.
You want more change?
Just slightly more change.
Slightly more change.
Like you say, it's 99%, but if we could get it to like 70%.
But again, like I'm saying, if I would say that as it stands is good.
I don't think it's enough, that's all.
You want a little more randomness?
Just a little bit more randomness. But I don't know. I'd maybe add more dice. Instead of you start with 1 dice each, and then add in 1 die for the... Yeah, that would work. Maybe start with 2 dice each, and the one guy gets 3 dice. I think that probably increase the chance of the person with 2 dice beating the guy with 3 dice, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so maybe that'd be the way to do it. We'd have to play test that. And give us any thoughts you might have on that, if you think that would work.
Yeah,
that might just increase the chance enough that the person with 2 dice can beat the... Like, very rare is a person with 1 D8 going to beat someone rolling 2 D8, right? But maybe someone rolling 2 D8 can beat someone with 3 D8 more often. And you think I don't know, but once again, statistics aren't my thing, but...
And I'm saying, like, these discussions as we go, we'll once we start noodling over these things, the end result is we want to hear from you and everyone out there what your ideas are.
If you guys are playing different initiative rules, what are you doing? Like, we don't play every game. Maybe there's some other games out there that have good initiative rules that we don't even know of.
But again, if pinned down and Ronnie said, "What would you say?" and my word was law, ours works.
See, I think it stays slightly more random.
Okay, well then that's.
But 2D2, we should try that 2D8. Start with 2D8 and add 1 die for the command, or for the person who went last.
Okay, well then, if you're saying there has to be a change, and I can't just stick with what we've had because I'm an old fuddy-duddy and I hate.
I just think it just doesn't change it enough.
I fear change. Then you know what I would say.
Well, we'll play it out. We'll see what happens.
Well, or you could just listen to. Maybe I have an idea.
Oh, you have another idea?
I'm just gonna spitball something right now.
Sure.
You have multiple leaders per side.
Yeah, I like where it's going.
Maybe as a benefit to initiative, you already get them for the command tokens anyways.
Yeah.
What if you just get a plus per leader?
Plus die per leader, or? I don't know.
Because
I guess it would encourage people to bring more leaders.
And having more leaders on the battlefield would mean you are able to act and react better. And if it was just a plus or minus your target marker,
but maybe a tactician or strategist. Like tactician gives you 1 die and strategist gives you 2 dice or something.
I was thinking changing the your target number. Plus or minus your target number, but.
Yeah, but the Deadzone never does that, right?
But that's because I'm now thinking outside the box.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Oh, yeah, for sure. If you're thinking totally outside the box, there's many things you try. But...
And that's the purpose of this discussion, and I'm saying that's what I think I would do, is just make your target number based on your leadership.
Or tacticians and strategists, because not just leaders, because most units only have one leader.
So...
Yeah, tacticians and strategists,
and
add more die or add pluses to your roll.
So if you have a sergeant and a captain and a something or other, chances are you're going to go first over someone who took your one leader with.
Or you just take everybody in your whole faction, all their command stats, add them together. You roll that many dice.
Yes, Dice-o-lanch. Okay, well now we've gone from the sublime to the ridiculous, and I think
that's perfect timing to take an ad break. I think that clears up the initiative. Yeah, so let us know what you guys think, and we'll try different things and see what happens. We'll see if it changes in Infestation. I assume it will, and after Kings of War and Dungeon Saga gets cleared out a bit, I think that Mantic will start focusing on Deadzone as well as Warpath. So I'm pretty sure by the second half of this year, we'll start hearing a lot more rules discussion and what's going to change.
Yeah, and in that Deadzone, the 2.0, I know initiative is going to be in there. I know it.
Yeah. Well, the way Ronnie was talking, I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
I feel it in my bones.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take a short ad and we'll be right back.
It is time for a brief message from our friends at Warmore Radio.
This is the Strike Zone.
Yo, Dreadball fans, the Strike Zone podcast is all about entertaining, educating, and informing you about everything Dreadball. We record twice a month, are an hour long, and are child-friendly. You can look us up on iTunes with the keywords Dreadball and Strike Zone, or on our main website, www.warmoreradio.com.
Enter the Strike Zone.
Welcome back to the Deadzone Podcast. It is shout-outs time.
And welcome back. What's next on the agenda, Rob?
We do have some shout-outs.
Ooh, it's been a while since we had some shout-outs.
Yeah, and the first shout-out's to our old friend, Tony Hopkins, because he's the one who built that huge, ridiculous BattleZone's terrain for the Beast of War contest. And guess what? He's a finalist.
He's a finalist, is he?
Yep, it's him versus the guy we saw last year on the Mantic Open Day. He had a oil rig, so it's Tony's huge 6x4 or 8x4 table versus the oil rig. So it's a good competition. But you can go vote. We'll have the if it's still open by the time this comes out, which I think it will be because God knows this contest has been going long enough. But we'll put the link in the show notes, and you can go there and vote for Tony or vote for the other guy. We're not telling you who to vote for. But we have some other great shots, some more shots that Tony's posted of his compound here. Another angle.
I'm kind of saying vote for Tony. Like I'm not
support our own for sure. But yeah, here's a great shot he did. It's a different angle. You can see like the ramps loading into like his boxes full of barrels and stuff.
Because his is like a active job site.
Yeah, it's like an industrial job site,
and it's got places with just scrap metals and just.
Yeah, here's a better angle, and you can see the ramps up to there, and
it's a lived-in world with it's got a theme and it sticks to it, and it lends itself the BattleZone's terrain material lends itself to imagination, like to gives you a lot of
he's pushing
options.
His imagination on this,
and he's taken that and just running with it.
Yeah, and so go vote for him. And they said that I think the winner is they invited him over to Ireland to play some games. So Tony said it'd be kind of hard to get this over there, but he'd see if he could figure it out and go. Hopefully, we get to see some video of them playing some Deadzone on this terrain, or Warpath maybe even.
Wow.
And another shout out we have to our good friend, our number one fan, Daria Winter, who's at BTGamer_Winter on Twitter. And she started naming her enforcers after their first kills. So she has her different enforcers here. One's called Val, because he killed a Valkyr. And the other one's called Husky, because he killed a Huscarl. Obviously she's fighting Forge Fathers a lot. But I'd said that if I named my guys after, it'd be like Dog 1, Dog 2, Dog 3.
Look at the paint job on those.
Yeah, they're nice. They look like a little flamey paint job.
She's talented. Look the sword.
Yep.
Wow. Well,
Nice
Daria,
job.
my hat's off to you. That is a nice looking paint job.
Yep. So yeah, it's a neat idea. I love naming the units and stuff.
And the colored bases must mean something. There must be some sort of mechanic there that I don't.
Yeah,
I
she
don't
did
know.
one greenish and one red.
And if you wanted to follow along and take a look at the pictures that we're taking,
Oh yes, go to deadzonegame.podbean.com, or you can go into YouTube and watch the video version of this. And yeah, hopefully you check these out.
very nice, very nice.
And well, since we showed off their stuff, let's show our stuff. Have you done anything recently, Jack?
Not a goddamn thing.
Well, you did. You said you painted up another tree man,
That
like
looks
the others.
just like
so
the
he
other
looks
two.
like the others.
Yeah,
And nothing else really.
too busy. Not a moment. Not
I've
a
been
moment
working
of time.
on some Dreadball guys, and this is picture's not great for this guy, but he's the Asterian, and I was trying to figure out to do an Asterian color scheme, and the bone I used skeleton bone for his armor, and it turned out a lot more yellowy than I'd like. So, and the red turned out a lot more orange than I like. But he's more of a Dreadball kind of colorful player though. So
Yeah,
don't think it. But for the actual Asterian army, I don't like the color scheme.
you wouldn't have a strike team landing in a battle zone looking like that. But today, you see hockey jerseys have
Yeah.
those crazy colors because you want to see the people. There's flash, there's pomp, and circumstance. He's a Dreadball player. He's
Yep.
he's not going to be infiltrating or
Yeah, he's playing on the pitch. There's another Dreadball MVP, and I did her armor all white, and then I just did a lot of different washes over it, and she's got purple hair. But she turned out cool. She's a Asterian too, I believe. She's one of the female Asterians.
I really like that.
The picture's not great, it's a little blurry, but she turned out pretty cool. And I also did Blaine. I painted up Blaine, and so he's just regular Blaine. But then I had two Blaines, so I modified another Blaine. I had a squid guy head from some other game, and I gave him a power fist and he had his hands crossed across his chest. So I cut those off and put enforcer arms on him and gave him one of my power fist. So he's my squid coach.
Squid coach.
He's like Hellboy with a Cthulhu head.
He does have a Hellboy-esque look to him now with a squid head.
And then there's the warden coach for Extreme, and I like how he turned out. He's got a nice blue pinstripe suit.
Very nice.
But once again, I had two of those guys, so I ended up making I like to call him like a some kind of promoter, alien promoter from the future, game show host maybe. He's got a cape. He's got his white suit on, and he's got a green head with a top knot.
He looks like a manager. He looks like a manager who would be at the side of the pitch yelling, possibly sliding in a folding chair underneath the ropes.
Yeah, he's more of a wrestling manager instead of a football manager, that's for sure. So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Very nice, very nice. Well, hopefully we get this Deadzone podcast wrapped up. We get some Vinland Old Time Radio stuff out of the way. And once you've unshackled me from the grindstone, maybe tonight, the girlfriend's out of town, maybe tonight I will get some modeling done.
Yeah, we get some for the next time, or the next time. And we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back for our last segment, as we like to call them. And we'll see how it goes.
And don't bother coming back. This last segment, it's just gross. We talk about bodily fluids.
I'm pretty sure that's not happening.
Oh.
It is time for a brief message from our friends at Iron Watch Magazine.
Do you like Mantic games? Do you want to read about your favorite games in a monthly magazine? Have we got the offer for you? Iron Watch Magazine. Iron Watch brings you the latest news, articles, and short stories taking place in the Mantic universe. Dreadball, Kings of War, Deadzone, Warpath. You want it? They got it. Ironwatch.wordpress.com. Get it now for the low price of free. You can't beat that at twice the price. That's ironwatch.wordpress.com. Download now.
Hey, this is Pat, North American Community Manager from Mantic Games, and you are listening to Deadzone the Podcast.
And welcome back. I promise no bodily fluids. Well, from me. You never know where Jack's going to go.
I'm going to go with cutting open a tumor, and inside is hair and teeth and pus.
Well, that's disgusting.
Told ya.
Yeah, anyways. So this last segment, we haven't talked about anything in a while, so we're going to do a state of the industry kind of segment here just to finish off. And we just want to see, is there anything that's caught your eye in the industry? If you watch YouTubes and search around, you listen to Mantic Radio?
I do. Strike Zone, Mantic Radio.
Strike Zone, yeah.
I'm more War Radio. All of his shows I listen to, all Adam's stuff.
Yep. And is there anything that you like? We talked about this a little bit amongst ourselves, but of course there's the whole dust debacle.
Yes, we're a little late to the game now. The dust is cleared.
Well, theoretically, it's not everybody's got their stuff yet, but supposedly they're going to get their stuff. But the whole thing was that Battlefront and Dust Studios had a difference of opinion on who should pay for what for freebies, and from their last Kickstarter, and really the poor Kickstarter supporters were the ones caught in the crossfire.
Yes, they were the ones who suffered.
It was messy fight.
And by now, probably everyone who's interested knows that they're talking refunds.
They're supposedly going to send the actual miniatures out. Battlefront, Dust Studios requested from Battlefront the money, and Battlefront asked them for what, are they going to get their freebies? We don't know. Are they going to get maybe some discounts from the store? Who knows? But at least it looks like you're going to get, maybe not get your freebies if you're part of this Kickstarter, but at least get the rest of your miniatures you paid for. That's the important part.
No, the important part is all of a sudden Miniature Market has a sale.
Yeah.
And this rapscallion who...
Miniature Market had a sale of 50 to 80% off their Dust stuff. They were like, screw this, we're wiping our hands of the whole situation. Which is not a good sign for Dust, but it is a good sign for me picking up tons of mechs and tanks and helicopters.
It sounds like when they unravel the alpha of Warpath, and I'm like, okay, I think I've got enough stage 3s, and I'll look over there, and you're like, I think I have enough armored personnel carriers.
And helicopters flying in.
Yeah, so...
there's definitely a lot of Dust coming our way.
So your loss, Kickstarter backers for that Dust Battlefront, is Rob's gain.
It's true.
He's the vulture. He's the bird perched
picking up the carrion from that corpse.
Yeah, perched in the tree, just licking his chops. Yum, yum, yum.
It's true. Is there any miniatures otherwise that you've caught your eye lately? Have you seen anything?
Yeah, every time I go into my spare room, I see all the miniatures I wish I had time to paint.
You do have a lot of Wrath of Kings to paint.
I'm just talking, I've got Z's now, and I think if I ever play Dreadball, I think I'm going to play Z's because I have Z's. I've got a little guy that in a cloak, I think looks like a Z underneath there. So, if anything, I'd love to just paint up a Dreadball team.
I'm in the process of starting to paint my Saphir team, which using the airbrush is quicker, at least to get some layers down, but still got to do all the detail work on them.
I am not even remotely close to having enough time to start a Wrath of Kings paint-a-palooza. There's no way I could even, but I think getting my Z's painted and just just for and giggles to have something.
And also, they're on the GW front. We don't talk about GW a lot, but they are changing their Warhammer Fantasy, supposedly, to a skirmish game with round bases. And it seems to be pushing a lot of people to Kings of War, because people still want their huge units. And so Kings of War is, I think, having a big push right now. So it's good for Mantic, at least, to have that going for them.
I think that there's going to be a draw there. Mantic has a lot to offer as opposed to GW on a lot of fronts. And I don't even need to say, like, financially or just even creatively. Like, there's a big draw there that Mantic has, other than, say, people already invested their time and in learning the rules or paying outrageous sums for big armies.
That's the best thing that Mantic's doing, is they're releasing army lists for other fantasy or historical war games. So you'll get, if you have a Skaven army, say, they're going to be releasing a Ratman army equivalent for Kings of War.
The Vermine just happened to...
Well, not even, they're just going to call them Ratman or whatever. And also they said historical, which is kind of interesting, that if you want to do historical gaming with Kings of War, you can do that too. It's kind of neat.
So, yeah.
So it's good for Kings of War, sure.
The more the merrier. We don't play Kings of War. One time we
will eventually.
We're going to try her out, but
especially Warpath now. I think if we're going to play a mass battle game, I think Warpath's going to take our time instead of Kings of War.
Yeah. I think with Kings of War, there was a brief window of opportunity where we probably could have give it a shot and not master the rules by any stretch of imagination, but just fart around a bit, but with Warpath just looming on the horizon, chances are we'll just be moving right into that.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of Mantic, they have other IPs that are doing well. Is obviously Dungeon Saga and Dreadball's massive. And Dungeon Saga looks interesting, and it's going to be a fun starter game for people to get into miniature gaming. And they did that book. Looks like a book, has the box, and it'll look nice on the shelf in game stores. And they were trying to hope to get it to mass market, so people start picking up that kind of stuff and get into miniature gaming and bring people into the hobby. Especially kids. Get some kids playing.
It's the gateway drug.
Yeah, exactly.
They want to get you hooked. That's your first taste. You want to just... and like they say, the first time's free. So literally, if you see it, you just go to the store, you take it, and take it home. You don't have to...
We do not condone stealing.
Oh.
But anyways, and also, we found, speaking of GW, we found in Jack shed a huge, not a huge amount, but quite a few Imperial Guard, and we're just trying to figure out what to do with them.
Yeah. We never played 40K, but
no.
Having miniatures and painting miniatures was something that we did 20 years ago. And the first thing that Rob said was, well, no one could play with these anymore. They're all old, and I mean...
And there's tons of people selling old GW stuff on eBay, so it's not even worth selling, probably,
So, yeah.
Maybe we'll green stuff, or what do they call it? The green, get rid of the paint on them, what do they call it?
Yeah, strip them down
and repaint them for, maybe they can be part of a corporation army for Warpath or something.
Proxies for Warpath.
Yeah. We'll have to see what happens, but there's quite a few of them. I don't know how old they are. They probably...
20 years.
20 years old. No, maybe not. Well, probably close, actually. But old Imperial Guard, whatever they're called now.
Look at my wrinkled, aged visage. You know that I am... I'm so venerable that 20 years is probably an understatement.
Oh, and I forgot to mention that Mantic Open Day, people kept clamoring for a fantasy version of Deadzone, which the Dungeon Saga is sort of, but not quite. It's not a skirmish game, it's more of a dungeon crawler, so more of a skirmish game for fantasy, which would be interesting. And also a Deadzone version of Dungeon Saga, which is almost like Imperial Assault from Fantasy Flight with Star Wars, where it's more of a dungeon crawl, but in the future, or Space Hulk. I guess Space Hulk is that.
Both are natural, not progressions. Both are natural, like, hey, you could have.
Fill in these spots.
Yeah, there's a deficit.
They said they're on their lists, but I think they want to get their current IPs all in order before they start throwing more things in.
Both of those are pretty niche, and you could argue that, well, you already have... once we not get the bases done, stick with the bases.
Although a Deadzone a Deadzone Space Hulk kind of game, other than people would just say, hey, it's a ripoff of Space Hulk, that would go good as a companion to Dungeon Saga if Dungeon Saga takes off. You could say, oh, we have a sci-fi version too,
Yeah.
So I'm sure that if Dungeon Saga becomes as big as they want it to be, they probably will do that.
The dungeon crawlers are the thing with the tiles that you randomly move out. Those are
that's the thing nowadays. Yeah.
Big business, and it lends itself well to random. It's not a campaign play. It doesn't.
You could, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's
more like, hey, I want to play a quick game, or even like we play Shadows of Brimstone, and it's good to introduce people to playing games too. Like we were introducing your girlfriend to doing that. And she seems to have fun, but she would never play Deadzone or never play a miniatures game. But she'll play that because it's playing one person and it's pretty simple. And,
yeah, it's cooperative. You just you basically sit around, you get some snack foods in you. That's what these games are for. It's either for people who just casual play. Hey, we got a couple hours.
Introducing kids or introducing other people.
Yeah, bringing people into the fold. So
yeah.
Well,
I think that was a Deadzone the Podcast.
Oh, a well-rounded one, too.
I think so. We had a lot to talk about.
We had shout-outs. Thank you, Daria. Thank you, Anthony Hopkins.
Loved you in Silence of the Lambs. I stole your joke.
Okay, well, now you're the funny one. I guess I got to start learning things and
being knowledgeable.
Bringing facts. Now we flip the script.
Okay. We're merging because you did bring some facts and read the script.
Well...
Fine, then. This is the angry end to the podcast this week, but be safe out there. I've been Rob.
And I'm Jack.
He still is Jack with a mean mug on. And we'll see you next time on Deadzone the Podcast. Take it away, Wintergreen.
Thank you for listening to the Deadzone Podcast. I have been your announcer, William Randolph Wintergreen. Visit the website deadzonegame.podbean.com. Email your hosts at deadzonepodcast@gmail.com. On Twitter, you can follow the show at Deadzone Podcast. The Deadzone Podcast is a production of Vinland Old Time Radio Productions. You have been listening to the Deadzone Podcast. And now, a word from the fine folks at Vinland Old Time Radio.
Jack!
Is that you, the ghost of Christmas past?
No, I'm the ghost of podcast future.
I'm intrigued. Do tell me more.
The future of podcasts is Vinland Old Time Radio. I know it sounds oxymoron, but it's not.
Where can I find this podcast?
VinlandOldTimeRadio.podbean.com.
And how many doubloons will that cost me?
It's free, unlike my soul. I have to go there. Bye.
You boy, what day is it today?
It's Canada Day, it seems.
Well, go buy that biggest Christmas goose in the window.
That makes no sense. I'm just taking your money and leaving.
VinlandOldTimeRadio.podbean.com.